Hello, my name is Stacy Kiggins, and I am the High School Language Arts Specialist. I'm going to give you a very brief overview of how to navigate the materials on the Return to School site. We will have a more in-depth focus on these units during our in-service on August 19th, so for right now I'm just going to show you where things are and what is here. So let's start with accessing the site itself. From the Back to School site, you'll click on High School, and then English. And I'm going to show you English 12 as an example because I want to point out some of the specifics for how we've differentiated for our advanced academic courses. So first of all of the Streamline guides look the same. We have included the year at a glance here at the top. This is so you can see a macro version of all of the units that have been written for English 9 through 12. You can see here that if the unit is in purple, that means it has already been adapted for virtual learning. You'll notice that every grade level is beginning with the Why Stories Matter unit. Like the Reflections unit we wrote in the spring, this is a unit that's designed for teachers and students to establish and strengthen their relationships while providing academic literary discourse and assessment. It was created to be used in all grade levels, and within the unit are opportunities to adjust based on age appropriateness or to change it entirely. So back to the Streamline guide. You'll see that we have created essential standards, and for English courses we decided that it was best to identify all 8 strands put forward by the VDOE, because we know that teachers can't not teach reading and writing. And so below we have highlighted the benchmarks that, if and when pressed to prioritize, we felt were the most encompassing and rigorous for the spirit of the standard. So underneath you'll see these hyperlinked units that were in the year at a glance, and to the right we have pulled out those priority benchmarks that these units will cover. I'll show you a quick overview of why stories matter because theoretically every grade level is going to start with this. And while it opens, I will add 2 caveats. That 1, none of these units are required or mandated by our office. And 2, none of the suggested anchor texts, if they exist, have been centrally approved. So those of you that have been using our CBC units will recognize that this landing page is slightly different than what you're used to. And that was because when we created this unit to direct teachers to the most relevant documents in the CBC guide to keep from overwhelming you. So let's start by opening the unit guide. This ought to start looking a little bit more familiar because this is our landing page with all of the relevant materials. It includes our text sets, our assessments. So let's go ahead and click on the pacing guide because this is the most relevant document within all of our unit plans. If you click on nothing else, click on this link, and it's so important that we've linked it twice here in the unit guide and here on the overview page. So here we are on the pacing guide. Within this hyper document are embedded daily lesson slides and suggested materials to use both synchronously and asynchronously. And since every grade level is going to start with a unit, I'll just pull up one of these suggested lessons. And I'm going to click through it so fast just so you can understand how we have adapted some of our materials for what we anticipate to be an 80-minute virtual setting. We have offered a lot of suggestions like Google Classroom and Padlet, but we know that some teachers might want to stay on a single platform, which is actually probably better for students anyway, but we wanted to make sure that some of the popular tools that we know teachers are using are making their appearances in this unit. And again, the point of these units is just for teachers to make their own copies and edit them as they see fit. Okay, so back to that landing page. We have linked the summative assessments here, and I want to show you that we've also done this sample high school unit planner. This is familiar for everybody who's been through our CBC training before, but if you teach this unit exactly as it's written, you'll see that we have gone ahead and noted which standards and benchmarks this unit will address if it's taught the way we wrote it. The last thing I want to show you is this supplemental Google site, and this is just so extra. We made one of these for each of our virtual units, but they are very much in draft form. So these are designed to give teachers one more way to organize and house asynchronous lessons, because when we got some very informal feedback in the spring from parents, their concern was that students didn't always know what was required for class, or what they had missed if they had missed a class, or what was just allowable for extensions after an optional exploration. So we created these so students would know exactly what was due and when. So that's the overview that every unit has, but now I want to take you back to one specific grade level to show you two additional things, and then I'll be finished. So to show you where we are again, this is from the Return to School site. I've clicked on English 12 in the Streamlined Curriculum Guide. We were just in Why Stories Matter, and now we're moving down to Counterculture. You'll notice that this looks exactly the same as the Why Stories Matter unit, and about halfway down this page we have created an IB adaptation subject guide, and we have one in the works for AP even as we speak. So what has happened here is that these guides have been suggested for teachers to use the materials that have already been written and to simply adjust it to fit within the parameters demanded by the IB or the College Board. These include suggestions to adjust assessments, how to fit in texts that were required by the programs, and include, of course, direct links to the materials provided by those programs themselves. We also have some ESOL teachers working currently on adapting all of the units for some scaffolds and supports for our students in English for ELS as well. Okay, finally, I want to show you back up to the pacing guide for this particular unit. Our stories unit was directed entirely around student choice, but the suggested text for the counterculture unit is Born a Crime. So you'll see that because none of these texts have been centrally approved, our curriculum writers went ahead and created a sample form with a rationale and justification for teaching this material that you can use within your own school. We just tried to do a lot of the legwork for you so that really all you need is for your committee members to review and sign it so that you can have that IS 694 on file. Okay, that is it, and I hope you have found this super quick walkthrough to be user-friendly and clear as you start to sort through the resources we've created.